Hi, welcome to the Barmy Army Isolation Podcast number 9. Tonight I'm joined by Jake and Matt. Evening, guys.
Good evening.
You all right? You okay, guys?
Yeah, very well.
Good. So we're going to talk about our favourite moments from watching the team. I think the one we've all kind of agreed on, but off camera, was the winning of the trophy. So, Jake, do you want to have a little chat about that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, if you ask any United fan, not just us three, they will probably say that is the standout moment since he started supporting the girls. I think it was just great to see a whole season's work as a new team just come together and just have a day of real celebration. Really, I know that they wanted to push themselves and get to 100 goals, but look, it was just a brilliant day of celebration. Really, it didn't really matter what the result was because it was all a big party at the end.
Craney?
Yeah, I think I'd probably say similar to what Jake said. Celebration's a great word. I think, like you say, obviously July we've got 21 complete strangers or pretty much strangers together to try and gel over the course of a season. Now, obviously that can either go one or two ways, good or bad. Luckily for us, it went really well, and I think you could tell on the day. I mean, a lot of us kind of got to LSV early. We welcomed the players in. Kind of big party beforehand. A few of us, or a good chunk of us, are able to meet up and get some food in the pub next door beforehand. Afterwards as well, sort of big celebration. Just an enjoyable day overall for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long day. I mean, I think most of us met at the Wren at like lunchtime. Kickoff wasn't until 5:30. So, I mean, we're there for, it was like an away day. We're there that early.
I know. I remember me and Ben, we shared a lift for this one, and we must have got there about 10 o'clock because we decided in our wisdom that breakfast was a good idea. I must have been the only two people there in Morrison's, and it was funny. And then, like say, over to the pub, but we didn't leave LSV till about must have been 11 p.m. because we were waiting on all the players afterwards as well. It was crazy.
A long day.
And then had a night out.
And then most of us were at Old Trafford the following day.
I remember that as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Evening, Anthony. Anthony Wilson. He was a bit worse for wear the following day, weren't you, Anthony?
He looked like Terminator. I just remember his eyes being just bloodshot red. He nearly fell down the stairs trying to reach me at that Cardiff game. It's so funny.
So, favourite moments. The one for me that stands out, and mine is a really personal family one, is the first game against Reading. Because Tash, my niece, she was a mascot for that game. And it's kind of special as a family thing because, she's a mascot for Manchester United, the team she loves. It's the first ever game for the women's team. And it just stands out there as one of my favourite moments. I've got others, but guys, we want to start off with any of yours?
Go on, Jake. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, okay. I think, as Mark said, you always remember your first game, especially at home. And my first one was Sheffield at home when we played in our home kit. They played in the lime green /yellow / whatever you want to call it. In the words of Casey, it wasn't our best performance, but for me, it sort of, opened my eyes and, showed me this is Manchester United women. It's such a nice atmosphere. It was really good. It was a lot better than what I was expecting as well. And as you said earlier, Matt, at the start of July, you had this big group of strangers, but like in a few months, you could see they were gelling really well. And I'd say it was a good game. And it's just, I'd say the first game always sticks in your mind. So yeah, good memories from day one.
I think for me, I'm struggling to actually pinpoint. Like obviously, I've mentioned the Lewis one, but I think in terms of last season, like I said before to you guys off camera, I think the London Bees, in terms of the way we kind of, I'm going to use a Casey word, with the way we're ruthless. That free kick routine when Tooney scored. Then obviously we had other people. Must have had about 5 or 6 different scorers that game. I think that kind of stands out from last year with the Lewis one. And then there's a couple this season, obviously the Liverpool win, the City win with that free kick from Zellum as well. So I think for me, like I said, it's difficult to kind of pinpoint. but I do have quite a few good memories of various games as well. We could sit here all day and chat about.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Wilson, Anthony's put up in the comments, Spurs away at Chessons. That was a great day out. I know you weren't there, Jake, but that was a great day. It was fun.
Yeah, I think for me, it was another one where we got there quite early, didn't we, as well?
Well, the gates are like 11:30.
I know.
They opened the gates at 11:30, so obviously us being like, we'll have to be there for 11:30.
Yeah, I think that was the one for me, though, where we kind of knew the league was pretty much wrapped up, because I know, obviously, we had Spurs as our main kind of challenges. I mean, what was it, 5-0 that finish? 5-1 maybe?
5-1.
We kind of, hammered them. I think that was at the time we were getting news Sheffield were doing really well. I know they'd, obviously, at that Charlton game, the rearranged one, we'd heard that they'd beaten Spurs, and then they kind of went taking points of other teams. So I think, like you say, Tottenham game. I even enjoyed the Millwall one, the last away game.
Millwall, yeah, but you see, I enjoyed Millwall, but not for the game. I enjoyed Millwall for after the game when we're all on that football pitch.
And the golf beforehand.
Yeah, you see, the goal thing you and I have always talked about with Ian and his back. Oh, I can't do anything. And the next thing you know, he's playing foot golf with us all. But
I know.
Millwall was good. Jake, I'm going to put a comment up and I'm just going to let you run with it. Okay?
Yeah.
From Deborah.
Southport. Look, it's something that we can't forget. Everyone who was there in that stand, I can't remember if it was North or South, it was one of them. It was just such a great atmosphere. Personally, it was my first away game. I think it's my 6th or 7th one I've been to in general. And I think that night just sort of wrapped up a lot of what I was thinking around the club at the time. That it was such a family, especially our fan group, the Barmy Army. It was a special atmosphere. We went into it knowing it was a massive match, because this was WSL opposition. We were the little people in the championship. This was our big game, and we absolutely destroyed them. The atmosphere was great. We had great sound because we were in that stand, and look, it was freezing. It was a Thursday night, and it was Conti Cup. It just ticks all the boxes for me.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Southport still stands out as one of my favourite moments. Like you said, we lost to Durham on the Sunday, and Craney and I and some of the others, we were all down at Durham, but we all left at a reasonable hour. We turned up maybe 2 hours before kickoff, unlike some people.
I've never forgotten that story and that phone call.
No,
Shocking.
It was shocking. It was, and it was an important game, Southport. But I agree. Just 12, 15 of us, Jake, in that little end, and we made a hell of a racket that night. I remember the other moment for me in that game is Amy Turner, where she nearly chipped the goalkeeper from. It seemed like, to me anyway, from the halfway line.
Yeah.
It was
Must
fun.
be something about Everton that Amy loves, because thinking of Southport, that goal this season, she just ran from her own half and ran. And you're thinking, right, here we go, square it, and it just flew in the bottom corner.
I mean, you compare Southport at the Conti game on the Thursday night to this game. The away end was just, it was bouncy. It was brilliant. I mean, I've enjoyed going to Southport more than I enjoyed going to their new ground. And I've said that before. So Spurs, we all agree on. We like Southport. Millwall was brilliant, but I enjoyed after the game, not during the game.
It was just a nice little ground, Millwall, wasn't it? And before
it was
as well, like a little barbecue and things.
Yeah, and obviously that's the game known for Ben and his beard.
True. And all the stuff after it. Yeah, no, I think last year as well, we did, like you say, there was a couple of good trips. Even that, I was reading on Twitter before, and somebody mentioned the first postponed Charlton game. Obviously, circumstances, aside, just I think we're all over that Charlton team in that first game. I can remember the first 10 minutes, scored the goal as well, and then that was it.
Yeah, the first Charlton trip was fun as well. Home games. See, I struggle with some of the home games. They don't really stand out as any of my favourite moments. My favourite moments are the away games because they're just it's proper away day. The buses are always fun. I mean, Jake, you're going to have to get on one of the buses because you start because you have your choice of the adults bus or the kids bus. Where you can on the kids bus you listen to all the popular music. And on the adults bus, we listen to, we just have a laugh in the chat. I know that you guys have a laugh as well. But on the last bus, you listen to Darius, and I can't ever forgive that.
You'll have to do a journey with one on one way and the other on the way back. But it is funny. We play all like the 90s pop world retro old school stuff, which everybody else on the other bus pretty much hates. And then you guys, like you say, you have your more kind of chilled out apart from not going mental up and down the bus.
I've seen the video inside of
honestly, it's something else. You think, I'll be dead tired at 6 or 5 in the morning, but trust me, you're awake after 10 minutes.
The food gets you through it. You get on the bus and you're already having that, the Vimto fizzes and everything. You just, you stop off at the service and you're like, right, grab 5 minutes alone just to calm down.
Doesn't happen.
It doesn't help. Right. Deb was said night ways Sheffield and Leicester.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Leicester was a great game away. Were you at that one, Jake?
No, I didn't go to Leicester. I went to Sheffield.
Oh, okay. I enjoyed Sheffield away last season. I thought it was a great game.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely.
Actually, the more when you think about it, it does actually that Sheffield away was one of the better local aways we did last year, I thought.
Yeah,
it
definitely.
Was quite exciting. Yeah.
Getting out of Leicester was just a nightmare.
Leicester had a bit of everything, though, didn't it, for me? Obviously, we got the big score line. Tooney got 4. Alex scored a good free kick. We had the trophies after the game as well. Picture with Casey and her flag. Like, that was just crazy.
You see, I forgot about those trophies.
Hey, I've never let Ben forget. It was just hilarious because obviously that links back, doesn't it, to the original Charlton story?
It does.
Should have been given out.
Oh, gee.
And then
the other thing about Jake, the other thing, Jake, why you need to get on the Barmy bus is because you might get serenaded by Nat. Thanks, Fiona, because she does a great Whitney Houston. Nat, it's great.
Oh, lovely
Whitney. The trophies when we were on the way down to Sheffield. So we were giving 2 trophies. One to Molly for goal scorer.
Do you know what? I've forgotten. I'm assuming so, but I can't remember. Was it top goal scorer for the actual year rather than the season? So obviously for all of 2018, I think.
I'm hopeful someone's going to pop up in the comments and let us know. But Alex was the player of the heart of season, wasn't she?
Yeah, that was it. That specific year.
So we got them we got them a trophy, and then we got them a chandelier because that was ridiculous. It was like it was like a Ballon d'Or, wasn't it? It was massive.
Literally.
It was just we never let him live it down.
I think the thing was, though, we went to present them. I think did not present them, and it was just the faces. Like Molly was made up. We give Molly hers first, and it must have been like, I don't know, maybe a bit bigger than the size of your hand. And then she was absolutely buzzing. And then I never forget, and we pulled out this full on, like you say, like Ballon d'Or thing for Alex, and Molly's face just dropped, and it was just the funniest thing ever, wasn't it? I just remember the tweets on the way home from Alex tagging us in them.
Ah, there we go. Molly got it for the goal of the month for Palace away.
Fair enough. Yeah, that was the one outside the box, wasn't it, from wide?
If you say so.
No, yeah. Sorry, I'm turning to Shane now. I have all these stats and visions and things.
No, but it's great if someone knows all the stats and stuff because I don't. Yeah. I know Jake. He knows his stats on the Conti Cup stuff. You're spot on with that. Because on the quiz last week, Jake, you were just knocking them out of the ballpark.
Hey, what can I say? The Conti Cup games are the ones that stick in the memory.
Anthony said Arsenal away. I know neither of you were there.
Yeah, midweek.
It was midweek, work commitments. It was a great game actually, and I thought I know I talked about it a little bit last week on Nat's podcast, but I thought we played really well against, in my opinion, the best team in the WSL at that moment. I thought we gave a great account of ourselves, and if we would have scored a few minutes earlier, who knows? We could have been going to a final, but I guess it wasn't to be. Other moments that stand out for me this season was the Etihad. I know the result didn't go our way, but growing the game forward, I think that's what it needed. Kind of, the segregation of fans to make their own atmosphere, because I think we can. I think for me, when you sat with opposing fans, your songs get drowned out by theirs if they do, and I think to help grow the game, I always think a bit of segregation might help make it a proper football atmosphere and start the proper rivalries.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think what was great, like you say, is because we got our own block. I mean, we all obviously, as you know, we all met up beforehand in the cycling centre, which was great for kind of us regulars and also people that were even new to the game or hadn't met with us before. And I think, like you say, obviously, this year was our first season, wasn't it, in WSL, and I'd read comments on Twitter about, oh yeah, people say, oh, City fans are loud and all this. I mean, I knew that wasn't the case compared to us anyway. And then just remember going there and people afterwards sort of saying, oh, yeah, great set of fans, just kind of the usual to what we'd had before. But in terms of like going to what people in our group perceived as one of the bigger teams, I think we more than one held our own in the match and two outperformed them in the stands as well. And like you say, I think being together massively helped that.
Jake?
It was a real experience just going to the Etihad, and not just the day itself, but the build up to it, knowing that this was the spectacular. This was, the season opener. We set a new WSL attendance record, let's not forget. And yeah, it was just brilliant all around. It wasn't just, whereas some away games, it's literally just the Barmy Army. It was us, and it was then some. It was a lot of fans from the men's side as well who'd come and pack themselves into the away end. So there was plenty of Reds there, which was great to see. And yeah, we got loads of people joining with the chants. Plenty of choruses of United going around to equal the one song of City. And even though, as you say, the result went against us, it was a great day out. It was a great experience, and hopefully we can go back there and win next season.
That's if we go back there. They might not take us back. We might have to go to the academy.
Oh, possibly.
Hey, who knows? Let's hope we have a season next year from the start. That's the first bit. So yeah, then we did Tottenham away. Arsenal was next. Arsenal was all right, I thought. Doesn't stand out as one of my favourite moments, but the game itself I thought was a great game of football.
Yeah, I think, like you say, it's another one where I thought we're unfortunate. It's come down to it's been, for me, a story of the season, kind of taking chances, especially against the top sides when they're few and far between. But I think one thing that did stick out was that double save from Mary in the Arsenal game.
Yeah.
But like you said, it wasn't massive, massive amounts. So I think, well, yeah, I remember this and I remember that. I just remember, giving a decent account of ourselves again against another top three side.
Yeah. I mean, Tooney missed a couple, I think.
Yeah.
I think. But I thought it was a great game, and I said it after the game, I think on the fan cams, that we deserved more than that. I thought we deserved a point. A point would have been a great, in my opinion, it would have been a great point for us. But going back to the City game, the Ross, the save from Jane Ross, it was a great save from Ellie Rebel. I mean, you were telling us all that she's going to score worldies and all this training. At that moment, you're thinking, this is it.
Do you know what? Were you there in Oslo in that train? Did you see a goal in the training game?
No, I'd left to go to the men's game.
Right, because you see, obviously, I'd seen. I mean, I don't know about you, Jake. I'm assuming you'd seen Jane before, obviously pre-us.
Yeah,
but I'd seen her, and obviously last year I think she'd scored something like 10 for West Ham. So my theory was obviously, I was expecting the same, but it was funny in Norway because there was this chance. And I said to Nat, I said, watch this now. I said, she'll get the ball, turn, and this will go in. And literally it was about 30, 35 yards out, back to goal. One touch, she turned, and it just flew in the top corner. I just remember Natalie just lost it. It was unreal. Like, it must have been. It's a shame it wasn't in a game, like against City or something. But it was, yeah, I'll give her that. That was a good moment. But, this season, obviously, she's been kind of in and out the side. But I think, hopefully, next season, there should be more to come. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
I mean, Jake, you're a big fan of Jane.
Well, I'm the first one to jump to a defence and the first one to sing her name out loud. Yeah, everyone goes back to that City game, and had she scored that goal, she'd go down in folklore and all of that. But yeah, it's been a tough season for her. Look, I'm just going to say one thing about memories and everything. That winner against Brighton. Not that you're going to forget that. That winner in the Conti Cup against Brighton. Oh, what a goal.
You see, Jake, you've not mentioned your other favourite moment then against Liverpool in our first ever game.
Of course, Lizzie. Look, that was the day. Now, the difference is between Jane and Lizzie. Jane, I already loved before she came to the club. Lizzie, I'd not seen any of, but obviously her scoring that first goal and then her performances in the games following that, I just fell in love with Lizzie. Look, we all know, no matter what happens to Lizzie now, she'll always be remembered as that person who scored against the Scousers. That's it. You're done. You're a legend.
She will be a legend for that for a long time to come. Nat put in the comments Molly's goal versus Palace is one of her favourite moments. I think I can't remember it. So if either of you two can you walk me through it?
I briefly, I mean, obviously that's not when I went to, but I remember must have been highlights or something I'd seen. I honestly, all I remember is the ball coming through the midfield, and she was out to the right of the box, and it just kind of, I don't know, she hit it, and it just kind of arrowed like across, so it went in like it was top left, and that's pretty much. Don't remember massive amounts, but I just remember thinking, because obviously again Molly was somebody I'd seen before. And just remember seeing just this shot fly in from like 20, 25 yards and thinking, okay, never seen her do that before. And then obviously last year, she was amongst the top scorers.
Nat's also put in the comments she loves at Oslo when we were serenading the players.
I think Oslo is just one of those. But for me, the first trip abroad with the women as a group as well. I'm actually gutted that we're not going to get one this year. Obviously, having a few of us heard where we were going, which is a very nice country. But yeah, I think Oslo. It was good because again we managed to travel in pretty decent numbers. It was one of them where obviously we went for the football, and obviously the result didn't go our way. That being obviously said, it was pre-season and they were mid-season. But I just think the whole thing, obviously we had trips planned together. We met people like Perry, for example. Obviously, someone personally I didn't know before, but some people knew him from the men. So I think it was just nice to all kind of come together. And then obviously we had the group photos, didn't we? What Sully took inside the ground. So met up with a lot of Norwegian Reds as well, which was great outside the fan park. I remember us all walking up, and then we sat outside, and it was very good for sort of 5 days, really.
It was a great few days. I mean, you were called Mark for most of the trip by Perry.
I've never lived that down since. No. It's quite funny, but
it was a great trip, and we like you said, we met some great people out there. We met Torrin and Ellen. We met Olaf as well, and they welcomed us like we'd known them for years. And again, it's actually Oslo is one of my favourite moments. Just maybe the game itself was just coincidental. We were there to see it, but it was the people we met, the kind of connections we made, and like you said, it's kind of gutting that we're not going to get a pre-season in this year because, like you said, we knew where allegedly we were going to end up going. And it is a beautiful place. And just walking around Oslo, the Monday night we arrived, we went to see the sights, and We went to see the sights, and you've seen it then. We just had a great laugh. I mean, we shared a room in a hostel. I mean, that was just fun itself. I mean, obviously you're going to mention the drink coming out of my nose, Craney, and that's fine. And I'll mention Ben walking around in his boxer shorts all day. Then, so it's all fun and games.
Do you know what, though? I think Jake's probably sat here now thinking, what on earth am I potentially letting myself in for? The thing was, Jake, you couldn't describe it. It was just chaos, as usual.
Look, I've heard plenty of stories. Honestly, it makes you sort of want to get in on the next pre-season because there's no way to describe it. It just sounds crazy.
It was crazy, but organised crazy. We knew what we were doing. We were just organised in doing it.
I think the funny thing was, like, that Monday, it was a baking up day, wasn't it, as well, and evening.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was one of them I just remember because I was in with the hostel for, I think, 2 days and then did 2 in that hotel next door. And that Monday, we didn't get to bed, Jake, till 5 a.m. And then Nat had us up at 7 standard.
Oh, dear.
But Craney was the clever. I mean, I'll say this so he can rewind it and have it as his ringtone if he wants. But Craney was the smartest one out of all of us because he made ice and he put his pillowcase in the freezer with his ice. So he kept cool the whole night, and we were all there just sweat dripping off.
The thing was, it was that humid. There was like no aircon, was it? The window was open, it just made no odds. But then the Tuesday, I absolutely chucked it down. So it was like catch-22. Like, wanted it hot, but not too hot. But we got absolutely soaked on the Tuesday at open training, like literally. And the umbrella, I never forget that. That umbrella was the equivalent of about 15, 20 quid. And it was only like a £3 small Primark version.
Yeah,
but
crazy time.
We're not going to complain because it was, like you say, it was a good trip. I think just everything, like the hotel, everything, the trip. Because I know when you went watching the men's, didn't you? And we went to the official supporters bar in the city centre.
Yeah,
met Bojan out there. Who else was in there? I think, was it Jesper Blomqvist or somebody? I can't remember now. There's a couple of ex-players off the top of my head anyway, and obviously fans that didn't go to the game. It was just as good in there for me anyway than it looked at the stadium. So,
before we finish on Oslo, one of Dave Pritt's favourite moments of Oslo was the coach journey from the airport to Oslo. He said it was just nice and relaxing. So I was like,
would be when you're asleep.
Yeah. Right, let's go back to football.
Sorry.
No, it's all right because it's great. It was a great trip, and Jake's now kind of getting himself organised so we can book on the next one with us, aren't you, Jake?
Yeah, definitely.
There you go.
Get saving now.
You can't get out of it now. You've said it now, and people have heard you say it. Any other standout moments?
This season, I'm gonna. Oh, go on, Jake.
No, I was just gonna say, just go back to last season, if that's okay. Another Conti Cup one for myself. West Ham at home. Now that was, in a way, it's a little bit similar to the Everton one. You know, it was another high opposition, if you like it, the league above WSL opposition. A team that had been, I wouldn't say in form, but in and out of form. A few days ago, they pushed Arsenal close at home, so a few of us were sort of worrying about it. But again, we stepped up to it and we did really well. And the moment that sticks out for that game for me is just the killer second goal from Jess. You know, she smashed it into the bottom corner, goalkeeper no chance. One of my favourite moments, hands down, I'd say, that match. It was a
great game. It really was, because we were at the end. We were hanging on towards the end of it. They were mounting on the pressure on us.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going into that game. I wasn't really sure what to expect because I'd heard they were a really good team, and I thought we dealt with them in a really, really, really positive way. And like I said, I thought Jess played her socks off that night. I think she stood out for me as one of the best players on the pitch, and I thought we thoroughly deserved it.
Absolutely.
Training.
Yeah, no, I was going to just touch on West Ham while I was trying about it. I think for me, that's been kind of my, I wouldn't say grievance, but maybe annoyance that Jess hasn't been a bit more central this season, because the thing that sticks out for me at West Ham is when she bounced that defender. I mean, it wasn't even like, just pure strength. And I think for me, because of her work rate and her strength, centrally, she does bring a lot. And maybe perhaps at times this season, for me personally, I might have missed that. But like you say, again, a team that we all thought, well-established WSL, didn't cause huge amounts of problems in my view.
So, as you've mentioned it, Craney, we might as well have a little chat about it. Just through the middle, Jake?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, she's our main striker. I don't think there's any other option.
Because I know we had a little chat on Sunday, on the Social Sunday, about it, and you said you would go back to a 4-4-2, didn't you?
I'm very strict. Yeah. But I just don't agree with having Jess on the wings, because she can do a job, but I feel like her talent's wasted. Like if she's on the wing, who's playing centre?
So on Sunday, Jake, I said to you, if you're going to change the formation, what would your team be? Go for it.
Let's try and remember what I said.
Pressure's on now, Jake.
The pressure is on Jake because Craney's doing it after you.
Fair enough. Okay, so if I remember right, I said obviously Mary in goal. Not hard to remember that one. And then my back four would have been, I think I put Martha at left back, Millie, Abby, and Amy Turner right back, because I think she's fit into that position quite well. Galton, looks like Leah Galton and Kirsty Hansen on the wings. Then in the midfield, look, we've got plenty of midfield options, so it was sort of hard to pick these two. But I'll go for Hayley, because she's been considered signing, and either Tooney, because I'm a big fan of her, or Katie. And I know it's hard to drop your captain in, but there we go. And then Jess and either Jane or Lauren up front. Those two struggled to decide on.
Because John said in the comments, and I just put it up on the screen, Jess definitely is a number 9 with LJ playing with number 10, which is what when I was having the conversation with you on Sunday, Jake, that's what I said. I would play Jess with LJ as a number 10. Craney?
I mean, 4-4-2, like Jake says, isn't a bad shout. But I mean, when I've mentioned this in the past, I've said a 4-1-3-2. And I think the reason being is, no disrespect to these smaller teams, but do we need to play 2 holding midfielders now? The answer for me is no. Obviously, goals this season, I read something the other day. I think we'd scored 22, is it maybe? It's in the 20s anyway.
Yeah.
So for me, I think goals has been, we're barring a few mistakes, which obviously are going to, they happen whether you're top team in the world or, whatever. But I think we've not been that bad defensively. The trouble for me this year has been getting the goals and kind of seeing off these teams, whether it's been like a close 3-2 or 2-1. So I think back four for me, obviously, Lotta's come into her own, so I'd have to give her a go at left back, keep Amy T at right back, and keep the centre back partnership of Abby and Millie. I think Hayley can more than do a job sitting in front on her own, which means we can then push either Katie or Jackie into that 3. For me, I think it would have to be Katie. And then I think either side of her would be Kirsty Hansen if fit, or Tooney on the right, Leah left, and then Jess and LJ up top.
You see, I completely agree, Craney, and I said it in the past as well. When we're playing, with all due respect, when we're playing the Bristol Cities, who, when we played them in January, they hadn't won a game. We didn't need to play both holders. We should have pushed them further up. I think most people would agree that Leah is a straight through number 9. Because when we played her there against City in the Conti, she powered through them through the middle, and it just showed her pace. She can outrun players, and I understand why Jess is a fan favourite to most people, because she's got that passion and that. Tottenham away, she sustained a massive head injury. She got herself wrapped up, and she came on and she scored a header. She's great. I like Jess. Obviously I know she's now number one, and I can understand why.
I think
John,
for me, that sticks out was the Everton one as well, when she was defending her teammates and they had a little bit of a scuffle.
yeah, John's put in the comments. Wrong one. Here we go. Midfield of Hayley and Jackie with Leah and Kirsty on the wings.
I think it's difficult because for me, we're well, I don't know what's the word, well stocked in midfield.
Yeah.
So it's difficult because I think for me personally, I mean, I've said this a few times and I'm constantly getting shot for it, but I think Jackie and Katie are they don't, for me, work together. I think I've seen each individual better without the other one this season than together. Yeah. But that's just my personal opinion. Whether people agree or not is down to them. Yeah,
I mean, John agrees with your back four, Craney.
Good. That's one person agreeing with me, and that's great. But yeah,
no, I would agree because I agree with Lotta as well. She has come into her own a bit more, and it was surprising because when we did a podcast at the beginning of isolation or lockdown or whatever we're calling it nowadays, I found the similarity between Lotta Rockvis and Patrice Evra. They both made their debuts for the club against Manchester City at the Etihad, and they were both substituted at roughly the same time. So if Lotta can go on to have a career like Patrice did, I mean, hey, we're doing all right.
Same number as well, shirt number.
There we go. See, it's just more and more.
I think for me, though, I thought she did fine against City. Obviously she was put in there, record crowd, debut, local derby. I thought, I mean, obviously she got taken off, but I didn't think she was the worst player out there. And obviously it's taken a bit of time to adapt to which it will. But I mean, these last, obviously 3 or 4 games that she did play in before, obviously everything happened, she'd looked, pretty solid, I thought.
Yeah, I thought she played really well against Everton in our last game. I thought she played really well. I mean, we were all there, and I thought that game, and I said it on the fan cams afterwards, that I thought our fullbacks. I mean, I know Leah would just come back from injury and she scored and she was on fire, but I thought Kirsty Smith and Lotta were our best players that day. Because I think Kirsty Smith is just jumps on, come on, leaps and bounds.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think I've had similar conversation with a few other people. Like it's good that she's I'd say stepped up this season. She's good going forward. She offers us, a decent attacking threat going forward, as does Lotta. So it's one of those now. If we can kind of tighten up the defending and keep the attacking threat with those 2 fullbacks, I think could be in for a better year next year.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I know you're a fan of Kirsty Smith, Jake, with the Scottish connection. So, Kirsty's done all right, I thought, this season.
I think she's done okay, yeah. And for me, I felt bad, when you asked me to name my dream lineup there, leaving her out of it. Because, as you say, she has come on leaps and bounds. Going forward, I think she's great if she's supporting Leah, like we saw in the Everton game on a pinpoint, because obviously we were watching for the whole first half, her and Leah link up. Sorry, I don't think it was Lotta and Leah link up, but no, when her and Leah have been playing both on that left wing, I think that's when they're the best. That's when they work best together. She is like someone who can go in or out, and as I say, she scored her first goal against Leicester, was it? Kirsty, I think. Yeah, that was brilliant. She can go for goal as well.
I mean, that was a great game. I mean, I know Leicester weren't the best opposition, but for one of my other favourite moments of the season is Hayley Ladd's celebration after that goal. I mean, you can't not.
Do you know what? That took me back. That to Beckham is halfway. Similar goal, similar celebration.
Yeah, I mean, Shane and I were saying it was very Eric Cantona when he scored against Sunderland in '95, and he just stood there and did basically what Hayley did. But I mean, going back to Kirsty, I think she's better for me on the left when she's got, or depending on who she has in front of her. If you've got Kirsty or Leah, I think she's a better defender, a better going forward. I mean, Deborah's put Everton away with some of her famous Kirsty Smith time wasting, where she got the ball and she threw it back out.
I think the one
Fiona,
with Tottenham, she crawled off the pitch as well and then came back on.
yeah, Fiona, Kirsty's definitely improved, and there's still room for more.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think at Reading away as well, there was one. I don't know, can't remember where you were stood, Mark, but I know near me there was one. It came out for a throw-in, and whoever was next to me chucked it back, and she dropped it and threw it back into the crowd. And I just like, it's like keep hold of the ball. It was brilliant.
The Everton game for me, one of the funnier moments was the ball where we were all, because I was down near the corner flag. You were up near the. Were you near the benches, Craney?
Oh, I had to watch Everton on my phone. I had family things then to sort out. So I was on the live player.
So we were down near the corner flag. You were near us, weren't you, Joe?
I wasn't far away. Yeah.
Yeah, and the ball came in, and the ball was going out, and Dave just headed it back in, and we're like, "What have you done that for? We're winning. Stop it!" But you got a bit of grief as well, though, didn't you, Jake, for throwing the ball back in too quickly?
Look, I maintain my innocence to this day. It did not hit. I did not stick my leg out. I was trying to control it and not hit my leg at all.
Yeah, Deborah's loving the Kirsty Smith time wasting. Reading this year too. She took ages overthrowing. No, I agree. Another standout, Liverpool at home.
Definitely.
I think for me, the one moment that will stand out from that game is the Amy Turner tackle, where you just heard the ball, you just heard this massive boom, and it was like, I'm not sure who's coming off worse there, the ball or the players.
See, this is what I like about Hayley. I just know, somebody else I'd seen before, and I just know she's just like brutal with the tackles, very good, obviously, but like you say, I think that game as well, the atmosphere, there was quite a lot of people there from memory, more than normal, sort of couple of thousand with and like you say, I think that was our first league win as well at the time when we'd played a lot of top teams and we could have done with some points. I think we got there and sort of eventually, slightly slow in the first half, but listen, a win's a win at the end of the day, and against your local rivals, what better?
Yeah, before I ask you to comment on the Liverpool game, Jake, Deborah's apologised.
Thank you.
And going back to the Kirsty Smith thing, Fiona said Kirsty knows how to manage a game well. Something we need to do more. And I would tend to agree with that. Jake, Liverpool?
Liverpool, do you know what? I loved it, but this kind of sounds like a really weird reason. For the sole reason that they made us work for it, and we sort of made it hard for ourselves at times. Our passing wasn't great in the first half, but look, we lost two coming into that one. We really needed to win, and coming up to the 70th minute and later on when LJ scored, we were getting desperate. You could sort of feel the tension around the stadium, a little bit of desperation. So when it did come and LJ, hit it into that bottom corner, LSV erupted with noise. I've never before or after heard noise like that celebrating a goal before, and it's something that I admit I watch back to this day. Weekly even I'll go back and watch that goal and just think, what an atmosphere. Obviously we had the penalty, and I think it was stoppage time as well when Katie made it too. But that goal itself, I'd just say, is one of my moments of this season.
It was a great game, and as you said, Jake, and as Deborah said in the comments, when LJ scored, the sound around LSV was amazing. And I made a point of it on Nat's podcast last week that Vicky Jepson went into that game saying all sorts of stuff about us as fans, and I think that spurred us on maybe a little bit more to make it a little bit louder than usual.
Absolutely, yeah.
It was one of my favourite games from this season. Deborah put in the comments on Twitter about Shib penalty save against Brighton last year in the cup as one of her favourite moments. I mean, I wasn't there. I've openly admitted that one. You weren't there
No, I
either.
wasn't there either.
So we can't really talk about. It was a great save though in the first FA Cup game.
Yeah, I think again it's one of them where we played like a WSL team being a championship team, and again we kind of shown what we could do. But like you guys, obviously I wasn't there, so it's only down to highlights. And again, important save. It's an important time, really.
Yeah.
So can I just say there's a brilliant video of that on YouTube, the penalty save as well. It's just a great save from Shivy when she needed to step up as well, because if I remember correctly, they hadn't troubled her that much, but big moment in the match, she made the save. I can't remember if it was what score was at that time, but all I know is that it really killed off any threat that Brighton had.
I think it might have been 1-0, for the penalty.
I know it wasn't 2, but either 0 1. Yeah.
No, again we had a great cup run last year, and it was only time management against Reading that, for me anyway, saw us come undone. Any more favourites?
I think I'm going to have to touch on this City game. After Tottenham away, that came, didn't it? So it was our next home game.
With the Conti game.
The Conti game, the one, the one that we won. I think for me, again, decent atmosphere. I think from memory, what was about 4,000, just over.
Yeah, I think so.
It was one of them where, we talked about before, we ran them close in the league. And I think this, it just, for me as well, especially at home, we are a different team at LSV. I think, obviously, one, with the fans, and two, obviously, with it being the home ground, I think we have done really well to make that kind of a fortress. And just think, literally, that free kick went in and that was it. I think from then on, everyone kind of, it boosted the fans, it boosted the players on the pitch. You saw obviously the tackles going in. It was a good game. Obviously, the result made it better, but a much improved performance from obviously the start of the season to that 1-0 defeat to winning 2-0 at home and keeping a clean sheet as well. For me, it was just like, fantastic.
Yeah, I think most people are going to say the game was brilliant. I mean, a couple of comments have popped up. Deborah, great free kick, good move for Jesse Bowling. Kira Wash getting sent off, perfect. And John, that's one of his favourite games. Jake,
I think that one. I'm just going to touch on this City one while we're on it. I think that's the game that proved that we can on our day beat the top three that the star-studded, full of internationals, that we can on our day at LSV, especially when we have the fans behind us. We can step up and we can beat them, because that's one of those games that you would never will forget. We just took up another level, and I'd love to see us hit those heights again, which I think we will eventually. We showed a little bit of that against Chelsea away. I didn't go to it myself, but we created chance against Chelsea away. Chelsea at home as well. I think we played all right in the Conti Cup. It's all I ever mention. But it's the thing is, we just push teams really close, and that's what I'm really proud of. These top three, we beat City in the Conti Cup, and we come very close to doing it against Chelsea twice.
I mean, I wasn't at the Chelsea away game. I know you were, Craven. And by all accounts, we were
touchy subject at the time.
Yeah, I was watching it on the FA Player, and I didn't think it was a penalty.
No, well, listen, we were right behind that goal.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
So yeah, listen, I said what I did at the time, and I still stand by it of not a penalty, but it's one of them. Again, it's like a clinical. I think the closest we came was hitting the bar from Tooney right at the end, and that again was a very good save by the keeper. But again, like Jake's touched on, we've ran these teams close. Another game, obviously we lost, but City in the FA Cup, barring a horrific decision from the referee, lines person, and whoever else was involved. That would have been another one, having just got back into it, where we scored a goal and it wasn't given to put us back on top. But it's one of those things.
Yeah, it kind of is. It's we've, like you both said, and I completely agree, we've come close to beating some of the top teams. Chelsea in the Conti Cup semi, I thought I mean, I know they had some big players missing for that game, but I thought we accounted for ourselves really, really well. The Reading FA Cup game, the Reading game with that, I mean, that still winds me up.
Yeah.
But we've come close against some of the bigger teams. Any more, or should we call it quit?
Just trying to think back. Do you know what? The Reading game, we have touched on this. I know I was on the podcast when we were looking back at the Reading fixtures, but the 2-0 home win against Reading, you know, similar to what we talked about or what I mentioned at the time about, you know, for me, they've been up there, sort of top 4, top 5, and pushing the big teams a bit like we are now, sort of the last few seasons. So I think a clean sheet at home, having struggled against Reading in previous games, was a pretty good result for me.
I mean, the one thing I'll say from my limited knowledge of women's football, before, you know, I heard Reading were a really good team. I heard Everton were a really good team. I heard, you know, certain teams had this kind of aura around them. And then when we played them, I mean, you know, Everton, we've got 100%, you know, we've beaten them at Southport twice. We beat them at the new ground. Reading, we've beaten once, lost twice, drawn once, lost once. So I think our record when we were a new team against the WSL sides and slightly getting into more experience, I think we've done really well against them.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think, like you say, obviously, I mean, coming up against what are officially classed as like outside the top 3, like you say, you would have probably Reading, Everton, possibly West Ham prior to obviously us being in the league. And I think to be able to see improvement for me as well from like the first time, like obviously, you know, the first time we played Reading last season in the Conti and we lost, then we went to the FA Cup and we got 2 goals, you know, to beating them at home this year. And then obviously away, barring that decision, which obviously we mentioned, you know, we would have been on for 3 points. I think just seeing the improvement, stepping up a league as well. Again, what do we have in the summer? 5 signings to get them to gel. That's pretty much half a team to get them to gel, to kick on. And let's not forget, we have had injuries to key players as well. Some, you know, when we finished, still weren't fully fit. But I just think for me, you know, it's been good this year for learning and for improvement for me.
I mean, for me, I think with the current, well, we are where we are in the league, and we still don't have a definitive answer with what's happening with the league. For me, I think we're the best of the rest, and it's our position kind of shows that. So coming into the league, I know I said it on one of Rodney's podcasts that I said if we can finish anywhere between 4th and 6th, it's a great first season in the WSL, and I'm so happy that's where we are. I mean, Jake, where were you expecting us to finish, and are we the best of the rest there? Kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. We are the best of the rest. I don't think there's much doubt about that because we've proved ourselves many times against every team that's below us. I predicted at the start of the season for us to come 5th, and I think even that was being a bit optimistic. So 4th, you know, I'm amazed by, and it's just I just want to say I'm so proud of the girls for stepping up a level. Obviously, Casey and her team have worked wonders with them, and as Craig said, the new signings coming in, you know, they've all gelled well, and we've caused a few upsets, you know, like against City in the Conti Cup, and then the league has been a bit hit and miss at times, but look, that's the excitement of football at the end of the day, and I think we are worthy of our 4th place.
Yeah, I mean, we had a great run after the Liverpool game. We were on a great run of winning games. Craney, what did you think going into the season?
I think I'd kind of said similar to you. I was saying sort of 5th, 6th. I mean, that again was based on kind of the likes of the Readings and the Evertons being up there. Now, like you guys have said, I do think we are, you know, outside the top 3, the best of the rest. But obviously now we've got a big summer where, you know, the likes of Everton with new investment are going to invest. Reading, obviously, will want to invest. So I think if we can stay kind of ahead of them in terms of 1, recruitment, and 2, progressing, I think, you know, there's no reason why next year we can't have a better go at the top 3. Obviously, we do need more goals, but, you know, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, John, He agrees. He said between 4th and 6th. So I think most of us were kind of optimistic going into the season, and I know the season's not going to finish the way most of us would want it to finish, but as a season in the first season of the WSL, actually you can say the whole season's been one of my favourite moments because we've just got, we started off against the 2 best teams in the WSL, and we had a great run of victories, and we slipped up in November against Chelsea, and it kind of was stop-start after that. I think this is where we're going to end it tonight, folks. So before we go, I want to say massive thanks to Jake and Matt. And if you want to get involved with us, our Twitter handle, our Instagram, and then get us on Instagram as well. And join us on if you want to join us on our Social Sunday, send us a DM, and we'll let you come and join the fun. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks.